Hello and welcome to Assume Control, my channel here about stuff and things. Mostly about my learning experiences here playing and doing stuff in Dungeons and Dragons. So today's video, kind of tailing off of walking through my character for the second campaign that I'm in, which is a sorcerer, a spellfire sorcerer. One thing that I didn't totally get when I made it, I kind of made the character and then kind of thought about it afterwards, was I don't actually know how spell casting works in Dungeons and Dragons. I think, like most people, I'm a millennial, so I think a lot of people my age probably base a lot of their mental imagery of like magic and being a mage, and there's a wizard in D&D on like things like Harry Potter. So you're like imagining having some sort of like wand or staff or whatever, and then like you like say the magic words, and then like you cast a spell. There's probably a lot of other there's no other variants. Marvel has like, I guess, like Doctor Strange is maybe the most spellcasty. I think there's like Scarlet or something. I forget what the names are. I haven't watched Marvel in a very long time, but there's a couple variants of that. And today's video is going to be me walking through as a new player to D&D to see if I can, on my own, figure out how this works. So I've got the player's handbook open here, and I've got the Dungeon Master's Guide open here, just in case there's something I need to bounce between. Um, let's see how useful these are, and see if I can understand. And obviously, feel free in the comments to clarify where I maybe am misinterpreting, misunderstanding, or maybe there's something that I just totally miss um, in the books here, just because they are so big. I'm kind of looking really quickly. I don't know if it would be under the specific character. I guess I can jump there real quick. Go to sorcerer. Um, okay, so it doesn't look like maybe it'd be in here. This is maybe more about creating the character. Um, some features. Oh, it is good to know how the proficiency bonus scales. I know that that impacts some things here and there. Maybe more for certain classes, less for others, and then certain feats and things like that. Spell slot. I should probably look at this a lot more, um, especially when it comes to like home brewing that magic item that I made for the sorcerer. I think I had some thoughts about like leveraging proficiency bonus instead of sorcerer level, but then I wanted to reward taking more of that class. Uh, but totally different thing. So I'm not seeing maybe in the spell list. No, this is just totally just the okay. So maybe not in this section. If we go back to the top here, feats, equipment. Oh, there's this chapter on spells. Okay, gaining, casting spells. Wow. Okay, should have looked at more of the table of contents there. Okay, so let's take a look. I know about spell slots. I know certain spells require spell slots. I know that upcasting certain spells to higher slots impacts either the number of targets I think I saw on certain spells or the number of die you would be rolling for damage. Casting without slots, cantrip, ritual. I know ritual from like Baldur's Gate 3, people would just, including myself, you take like Long Strider and then you just have perma Long Strider on all of your characters. I don't think that's how that works in D&D. Magic items, using a higher slot, School of Magic. That's pretty cool. Casting time. I think that's like an action, bonus action, yeah, or like a time, an actual time. Um, Range. This is also something I need to consider and like remember with spells that there's actually it's not like infinite range. Just because I see somebody, maybe it doesn't mean I can target them. Oh, here we go. So this is part of what I wanted to learn more about the spell components. So verbal. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. I say some of them. I say like Liviosa, and then that's like me verbally doing whatever. Um, Create something that's easy to say. I wonder how many people do this. Um, I wonder if people actually make up words or if they just sort of like say the intent of what you're doing. Because Yeah, the combination of sounds. Interesting. I wonder how many people actually do that. Um, from what I vaguely remember from watching like Dimension 20, I think they mostly just describe what they're trying to do. Um, I guess if you're really into character, um, you can kind of make up some sort of sound for every single spell, or just have a global sound, I guess. What is somatic? I don't actually know if that is that a real word, and if so, I don't know the definition. Forceful gesticulation or an intricate set of gestures. Must use at least one of their hands. Oh, interesting. Okay, so does that mean what does the spell focus do? What's the point of the spell focus if I have to also use my hand? Am I like a conductor, moving both of them at the same time? Okay, so that's an interesting thing. My sorcerer that I made has the quarterstaff in one hand and then is wearing a shield in the other. Does that mean that's not actually possible? Does that mean I need to put, because I think I need my spell focus. And actually, maybe if I open up the sorcerer spellbook again, if I go to sorcerer, and then I go to spell list, and then like I guess I'll just look at like chromatic orb is something that I wanted to use. Um, so it requires all three plus this diamond I have to get later at some point. Um, you hurl an orb. So like this doesn't say that you need a spell focus to cast. Is that not? I wonder where I would see that because it's a part of. It says to channel arcane magic. Can use, but like, is it required to actually do anything? Huh. I wonder. I guess if I just go to it, utility. So what does a spell focus do for you exactly? Interesting. Okay, so there's a couple of questions right off the bat. It says you use your hand. Can you use your hand, the hand that is holding the spell focus, um, to do these gestures, or do I have to put not wear a shield when I cast, and then put the shield back on when it's like not my turn anymore? Okay, so that's the first question, is or two sets of question. What is the purpose of an arcane focus, and does that augment this somatic thing at all? And then material is pretty self-explanatory. I guess I should make sure materials aren't consumed unless stated otherwise. Yeah, so like for example with chromatic orb, I don't think it said that it consumes diamond worth 50 GP. Yeah, it doesn't say that it consumes it. I'm assuming it would say something. Um, you can use the spellcaster must have a free hand to access them, but it can be the same hand used to perform somatic components. Wait, what? So I need a free hand for the somatic components, but I can use that free hand to access the material. Okay, so then if that's the case, then I can't. Then the arcane focus is not replacing the somatic because the assumption here is that your hand would be free to get the component. Wow. Okay, so I can't use a shield. Is what I'm understanding here because I don't actually know how. For example, is there like what are the rules with like attacking? Is that in here at all? Feats, character origins, combat, maybe, or oh, actions actually. Oh shoot, actions. Okay, so the actions can be attack, utilize, magic. This is the process here, guys. This is live. A beginner in D&D trying to figure out how the game works. Um, so my question here that I'm trying to understand is there a way to still have a shield, but like my turn starts, can I put it away, do all my casting, run around, and then end my turn with the shield in my hand? One thing at a time. Um, Maybe this isn't where I would want to. Initiative. Maybe this is where the Dungeon Master's Guide. So let's see if this is in here. Okay. So we're looking for something to do with like the actions you can take. Attack rolls, maybe. Advantage, disadvantage, consequences, degrees of failure, running exploration, running combat, um, adjusting difficulty. Okay, so no, or at least initial glance, it doesn't look like it's in there. Creating a background, environmental effects, step-by-step adventures, treasure. Huh. Okay. So it doesn't look like maybe there's a ruling on that, at least in these books. As far as my really quick trying to figure out where it is. Okay, so that's another question: is how does it work if I put away my shield? Does that count as my whole action? Uh, and if so, then that's unfortunate. I guess I just can't use a shield as a mage, even though I have a spell focus in my hand. And if I'm casting something that doesn't need a material, then okay, interesting. Go back here really quick. I think maybe that changes what spells I get. Then it's like okay, for Sorcerer's Burst, this is the verbal and somatic. Okay, so no material cost here. So like, could I, for example, with this one, since there's no material cost, use my hand that has my spell focus for the somatic component? Since I get it's very strange that it allows you to take the material component, so then it becomes a non-free hand. So it's like in one part saying that you can use a non-free hand, but it's only in the case that your non-free hand has a material component. Very interesting. Fascinating. Okay. Um, Fascinating. And I guess I want to check something like shield. If I look at shield, okay, verbal and somatic. Interesting. Wow, this is pretty okay, so like which bolt has a material cost? A twig struck by lightning. How in the world do you get that? um It doesn't say that it consumes it. What did it say in here? If a spell doesn't consume its materials and doesn't specify a cost for them, these materials aren't consumed unless stated. Okay, so by default they are not consumed, and then it would explicitly state if it did. Okay. Um. So like this uses a twig struck by lightning. Is that something that will show up in a shop? Interesting. Okay. Well, this changes a lot. I guess I feel like the easiest solution to this is just I don't use a shield, and I just have the quarterstaff in my hand, and I'll always have a free hand available, basically, to kind of get around all of these things. Because then I can do the verbal, and then I'll have my offhand to do the somatic, and then that off free hand can also do the somatic with grabbing a material if needed. And there's something called a component pouch. A spell doesn't consume a material and doesn't specify a cost for them. Interesting. Instead, providing materials specified in the spell, a spellcaster can substitute spellcasting focus. Oh, wait a minute. Or the spellcaster can substitute a spellcasting focus if the caster has a feature that allows. Okay, I have no idea. You still need a free hand to use this component pouch. Okay, I guess what is a spellcasting focused for? Is that just like baseline? You have to have a spellcasting focus to even cast spells, and then on top of that, you have these three components that could possibly be required for the spell. So you need the spellcasting focused and a free hand to ensure that you could cast any possible spell. So there's no world where you can have a shield as a caster, is what I'm kind of inferring from all of this. Obviously, if anyone finds this and comments on this, I'll find out while I'm playing. I think I'm going to try and wear a shield and then see what happens. Obviously, I'm going to ask the DMs. I don't know how experienced. I think both of them are kind of newer, so maybe it's something that I can just work on them to be like, hey, can we like ignore? I think this seems like a pretty crucial part, and maybe it's part of the take a step back and think about why these rules exist, right? Like why would I be getting forced into not having a shield? You would think as a squishy person, being a caster, in my case, I'm not that squishy because I am multi-classing into Artificer. Quickly, you can see all the characters that I've messed around with, trying to build stuff out. This is the character that I'm talking about here. This is Raiden, my Spellfire Sorcerer. And I'm multi-classing, we're starting at level 5. Real quick, multi-classing into Artificer, which then means that I can wear medium armor. And so I am wearing medium armor, scale mail, a shield, and a staff, which is I guess the staff isn't an arcane. I mean, it is an arcane focus. I guess it's just a quarterstaff, just re-flavored as a staff. So the idea here was like, okay, I rolled pretty well with my manual rolls here for stats. I've got a +3 to Dex. I want to do something similar to my Ranger where I'm wearing medium armor, eventually going for like Serpent Scale Mail, so I get the full +3 from my Dex. That'll put me with a shield here. I'm capped at 2, so 18 armor class with my shield. That medium armor. I took the tough feat, so I'm a pretty tanky character given that I'm a caster. But it looks like I'm going to need to take off this shield. So if I unclick it here, 16 armor class, which doesn't feel as good as 18. But I do have access to the shield spell through Magic Initiate Wizard as background feat. You can see it right here. And I have Witch Bolt. I don't know if Witch Bolt is good now because of that material thing. I need a twig that's been struck by lightning, and I have no idea where in the world to get that. That's very interesting. It did say that I can, instead of providing the material specified, or the spellcaster can substitute a spellcasting focus if the caster has a feature that allows that substitution. I don't think I have a feature like that. I don't remember reading anything like that as a part of being a sorcerer. So I do need that material, and I have no idea where I would get that, and I don't know how much it costs. But that will be something to figure out later. So maybe I take something else. My plan here was to take Witch Bolt at these early levels so that I can cast this on my first turn, or I can just use my sorcery points to bonus action cast it for that first turn, cast a cantrip like Sorcerer's Burst, which I think does not require material. So I can hit it with the Witch Bolt, hit it with the Sorcerer's Burst, and then on subsequent turns, I can just use my bonus action for Witch Bolt, the recasting. And then, I can use my action to, since this isn't like a spell using a spell slot for the subsequent turns, Um, I can then use my turn to like cast CC or keep casting damage or whatever. Maybe that's kind of dumb. I don't know. I am more of like a damage oriented caster, I guess, as a part of this character's identity. I do have access to, I think, some control, maybe. Maybe not. Oh, I have like web. Yeah, I just have like web. Maybe I should take some more than that. I guess we can do that live. But yeah, this was sort of me in the moment trying to figure out how spellcasting works in Dungeons and Dragons. Let's go over the spell list here. Uh, Again, totally new to this, especially new to this idea of being a caster. So let's kind of. I think something I was planning on taking was sleep. Um, Maybe I take sleep over shield. Maybe I take this. Maybe I don't need dragon's breath if I'm doing like the witch bolt thing. This is kind of the same idea though, right? Each creature this has a hot pepper. Are these just like flavor things, or do I actually have to find hot peppers on like in game? Huh. This is kind of crazy, actually. It's kind of blowing my mind. I never didn't really think about this. Because this is just a better version of the 1d12 versus 3d6s, obviously. So maybe what I do, okay, maybe this is what I do. Let me do this in order here. For my feet, maybe I switch this to shield. Boom. And then over here, I scroll down to, I don't need to prepare that here anymore. I can instead take sleep because this was kind of cool. Oh, this also requires material: a pinch of sand or rose petals. Okay, the variety of the things needed. This has to just be like flavor, right? Like, how do people cast? Because yeah, I mean, again, in terms of what I've seen Dimension 20, and I think the only component I remember. They probably discussed more components, and I just don't remember. I remember them talking about diamonds, I think, for like Revivify. I remember them talking about having to spend money on that. Did they just assume that they have all of this? Okay, well, I'm just gonna prepare it. I think I want that. And then I took off the. Where'd it go? I think I want this back because that's a better version of Witch Bolt. Oh, and then that fills my spell slots. Okay, boom. Cool. So I have sleep now, so I can actually, put somebody to sleep if I want my concentration to be on that. Oh, I guess that would have been a big failure of that plan, huh? Now that I'm thinking about it. Because Witch Bolt is a concentration spell. In which case I wouldn't have been able to CC. Okay. Well, the woes of being new and realizing things. Cool. Let's see if there's anything else in here that I need to know. Concentration. I think you only get one concentration thing. Spells on up to specifies how long. If I start another thing that okay, and there's nothing in the game that increases this, right? 10 or half of the damage taken. Dang. So I think in the session 0 on my ranger character, I took a frontal cone. I think the highest damage I took was a 13 in one hit. So it would be a DC 13 to see if I remain like concentrated on that effect. And concentration is a constitution saving throw. I have a +3, and then I have proficiency from being a sorcerer +6. Okay, so I would need to roll at least a 7 in that case because meets beats, right? I think in all these cases. So wow, so it's not even a taking. Oh wait, what did it say? Oh, half the damage taken, so it would have been a 10. Oh, okay, so it has to do at least 20 damage to surpass. Okay, cool. Not bad. Saving throws, proficiency, attack rolls. That's all in the character page. And you can't stack effects. Okay. Well, this has been very educational. Um, this stuff seems a little bit weird as a new player. The freehand thing, I I guess I guess I would have thought that if you were a sorcerer capable of you know all this stuff. Look how many spells I have. I mean, it's kind of crazy that I am capable of doing all of this, but then it's like I can't innately just use my hand that's holding the staff or the wand or whatever, and that I can't just like burn the material that's like on me. I guess it's kind of interesting. Maybe that's like asking for too much freebies. I guess I don't know. I mean, melee can just swing. Now melee is also not using a spell slot. I don't know. It feels like it's like kind of stacked in terms of annoyance. Like obviously this stuff does like crazy damage eventually. Even my sorcerer's burst. I mean, it's 2d8 as a cantrip. My ranger does 1d6 on one of his one-handed attacks, and then I get another 1d6 from Hunter's Mark, which is still lower than this. Um, so that's interesting, I guess. But then even in the ranger's case, like I only have to roll the one time to hit, then I have to roll for damage, and then the Hunter's Mark is free. And in this case, I roll to hit, and then have to roll the die. I could roll a one on both of these, um, which would be unfortunate. But I guess that's why I have my sorcery points, right? Because I have like the ability to. I have something. Because if I choose fire or sorcerer's burst, what was it called? Yeah, sorcerer's burst, and then I have elemental adept. When I roll a one, it becomes a two. That's a little bit better, I guess. Interesting. Just don't roll ones, I guess. Okay, so a couple of things here, kind of circling back to kind of summarize. One, what's like the dumb person's explanation? Explain it like I'm five on casting. Can I wear the whole point of this is can I wear a shield on this sorcerer? Um, if not, that's cool. I guess I just need to get, I guess, like items maybe that kind of make up for that deficiency in defenses. Um, I guess I'm still better off, kind of, um, overall. Maybe that changes things. If I can't wear the shield, in terms of character stuff, this is maybe like part part two of this character creation process. If I cannot wear a shield, then that really reduces this artificer value, right? I get the medium armor and the shield from this. I can't use one of them, then maybe I ditch this idea and maybe I multi-class into wizard to get shield through that, and then I get a different feat for my background instead, and then I get some wizard spells. I don't know what spells are different, honestly. I don't know if they even are different. Maybe I don't multi-class at all at that point, and then I instead use there was a level one spell, Mage Armor, which becomes 13 plus my Dex modifier. So then it would be 16, right? It'd be the same as what I have now without a shield. So then I would just do that. And I wouldn't have that armor on. I would just be wearing street clothes, basically. I just have like a Nike tech suit on as a sorcerer walking around. Dang. And how do you get items that are like non armor then? Are there such thing? Because if I click armor, then it becomes armor. Is it just wondrous? And it's just like robe? Is there something called like a robe of? Oh, there is something called a robe. Interesting. There's some robe of things. I don't know what these are. Are these like actual? This isn't a robe. This is a cloak. Huh. Whoa. I see. This is a robe. Holy cow! This is pretty good. Okay. Well, this has been very educational for me, um, and is making me second guess my pick of being a caster. How does anyone? Surely people play casters in this, and so there must be an easy way around this or a simpler method of understanding this. Let me know in the comments. This has been Assume Control. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate y'all's help. Have a good one, and until next time.